Okay, so welcome to week one, episode three. In this video, we're going to be talking about just an overview of the MIET 312 surface mining course. Okay, so what is this course about? So we're going to be exploring the most important aspects of surface mining. So from the methods that are used to the equipment and tools and planning, that make these operations feasible. You're going to learn how they're designed, how rocks drilled and blasted, how materials moved, and how environmental safety and economic factors shape decisions, right? Because a lot of times what you're going to be seeing is, their engineers and management, and there can be a disconnect, but there isn't always. But at the same time, you're going to be working with each other, to come up with a cost-effective solution, right? Um, Historically, I would give them two or three options if I had them available. It's like pick one because they'd all be basically the same, that sort of thing. But by the end of the course, you should be able to recognize and explain major surface mining methods. Okay? You should be able to understand and choose mining equipment, apply design and safety principles to layouts and slope stability, do basic calculations for drilling, blasting, and haulage. Okay, so we're talking about hole spacing, burden, shot volume, that sort of thing, and then haulage trucks, shovels, all that. And then be evaluating environmental health, safety, and regulatory issues. That's a big part of both surface mining and underground mining as well, but even surface areas of underground mines, right? A lot of times we're using similar techniques, right? A valley fill and an impoundment, and that sort of thing. So interpret cost data and understand the economics of mine design. It's important. Historically, when I was a practicing ground control engineer, I knew the cost of all my products, roof support and all that, different kinds of bolts. Prices have changed since then. It's been 10 years, but as an engineer, we need to know those things. We need to know what things cost so that we're doing the best we can, right? And then finally, communicating your findings in clear professional reports and discussions. So that's what we're going to be doing in this course. But there's some more. So we already talked about how you're going to be graded in the syllabus. But in this case, 5 equally weighted categories, 20% each, 200 points each, right? 12 quizzes, 12 discussions. 2 projects, sort of, parts 1 and 2, counting them separately, right? Parts 1 and 2, be 100 points each, right? Field trip report, and then midterm and final. So actually, the field trip report gets a little bit more weight than everything else, since there's like 2 exams and 2 of these. But I do think that the report's still important. Okay, it's important to be able to, write these things down and that sort of thing. So that's in here as well. Also got bonus points, right? 3%, so 1,030 points out of 100. There's going to be a weekly structure to the course. I mean, I'm sure that most of the students, assuming you're returning students, are familiar with how courses are laid out in Moodle. I'm very not familiar with that, but I'm getting up to speed quickly. So that's really what the weekly structure is going to be like. It'll be in Moodle. You'll have or in person lectures, right? Lecture content, readings, resources for everything. 1 quiz per week and 1 discussion post. So we're applying concepts, interacting with peers, checking understanding, and then some larger assignments. Okay, field trip report, projects, files, exams. So the structure is designed so that you know what to expect and can plan your time effectively, right? It's basically a routine-based structure. This is good for a lot of different people. So hopefully we can keep that up. But also we're going to have guest speakers and stuff coming in throughout different parts of the year. So there we go. We're going to be having that. Then, of course, our week one focus, we're basically just setting the stage, expectations, introductions, what the course structure is going to be, how it's graded, student membership, and SME. We're going to be talking about that, which we kind of already have. But, I do plan on eventually discussing and putting out there sort of my not view, but my outlook for the program, some things that I want to do and want to accomplish. And of course, like I said, no assignments are due this week with the exception of the introductory discussion post, which, will allow us to get to know each other a little bit better, get to know me or me get to know you, that sort of thing. So with that, this is the overview for MIET 312, 312 surface mining with Dr. Morgan Sears. So thank you.